Hello and welcome everyone. This is Robert Bobby Jeter Hansen with the long-awaited first round coverage of the Highland Open 2021. This tournament was filmed at the Highland Golf Course in Bloomington, Illinois. It is a temporary course of my design. It has been used the past few years in the BN Open as well as family fun nights, but this is a bit of a different design. It maintains some of the original holes as well as some adjusted holes and some completely new holes. Hole 1 is a 650-foot par 4. There's a creek OB along the left and sidewalk OB along the right, and let's see what I can do with it. One of the benefits of running the tournament and shooting the film and having a small MPO field is I get to be on the camera, which means you get to see shots like that. Goodness gracious,
Saved by the rocks,
I got a little lucky
think.
there.
I'll take it if it is.
Quite stoked. Here we have lefty Nick Reliford. Whipping it out there. This hole sets up well for a lefty or someone with a big forehand. The idea is you want to get up by the first big tree or past it so you can have as easy a look at the basket as possible. Adrian Chevalier.
Okay, yeah, we yelled it too. I just don't think people like that.
Hails from around the Champaign area and is a natural crusher. And this thing is smoked out there. Fortunately, gets a little bit of bad luck off the ground there, skips right into the water. And here we have Aren Dow. He either liked my line or made the same mistake I made, but ends up just fine. So here we have Aren with his second. His drive and mine stayed inbounds. And this is just a real nice shot up. This is probably about a 300-foot shot from here. So real nice and pure, easily in the circle. Reliford, our lefty. The three of us all ended about the same distance from the pin. And he puts his upshot real close. Now I was a little worried about the creek here on the left side. Maybe a little too worried. But I like to go the forehand route. That's fine. It's just not as close as I would have wanted to put it. Now here's Adrian trying to save his par after the OB stroke.
Go in. Let's go.
Ooh, and just barely misses throwing it in from about 200 feet. Here's for my birdie look. And just a bit short. At this time, I will blame the fact that I was the TD also, and I did not get to warm up. Anyone who has TD'd before has full permission to use that excuse. Nick Reliford also did not have time to warm up, but it did not really make a difference to him. He actually showed up just as the card was getting ready to tee off, as happens sometimes in tournaments, but so far it's not bothering him one bit. And here's Adrian. The tap-in par. I think I said he was trying to save his par earlier, but it was for birdie that he almost threw in, which would have been amazing with an OB stroke. We move on to hole 2. This is one of the original Highland layout holes. It's about 330 feet with a low ceiling. The basket is up on a hill, so if you are not parked, it can be dangerous to try to putt for your 2. This looks like a fine shot from Nick. He'll be downhill, so that's going to be a tricky putt. Aren rips on this.
Let's get up there. Nice toss there.
Decent little skip, but with the roll away, that's going to put him deep in circle 2. And I didn't throw it too great, but it's, it's over there. I'll give you guys a life lesson here as we watch hole 2 and see what Adrian can do. Don't think about form while you're in a tournament. I know I personally can find myself in a mindset in any round where I'm thinking about what I'm doing instead of what I should be doing, and that's never going to help your stroke. Adrian puts it up there, looks like about C1. So I've got this little lofty putter up shot. I was not trying to run that in any way because of the hill. I just wanted to put it close and see if Aren can sink his circle 2 birdie. That was scary, but it sat. He should be right next to the basket. Nick Reliford for 2.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. As I was mentioning earlier, this can be a scary basket, and he finds himself quickly farther than Aren was, but he's trying to save his par now. And he puts it up there close. He tried to give it a bid. So our only chance for birdie now, Adrian Chevalier. And he didn't make it. Somehow he goes the farthest past the basket on that putt. No problems, gets the par. So I think everyone is just going to clean up here. I missed low, but I don't usually miss that close low. Nick will be taking the only bogey as Aren taps in his par. And we will move on. Hole 3 is a favorite of mine. It was used in the original Highland layout for the first BN Open that used this course, but it has not been used since. I got permission to use this hole. It is over 600 feet, downhill. The basket is tucked way back in this clearing. There is OB very close by the basket. There's also woods on the left. Decent shot from Aren. Here's me. Again, thoughts in my head. I'm thinking about form, and I'm trying too hard. So it comes out early, and you can't see it from the film, but I did hit the trees just left off the basket. This should not even come into play. Fortunately, we have Adrian to watch now. And this thing is smoked, folks. Holding that turn. And it skips up there. He is around circle's edge. Granted, it's downhill, but that's still around a 600-foot pole. This is a scary hole for a lefty. There is OB Creek on the right. Nick does a good job. As you can see, he's still kind of flirting with that sidewalk, but he was plenty safe. And here I am. It is a par 4, but I have a long way to go from here. Decent upshot. I'm still quite a bit short. Hard to attack from where I was with stance and ceiling.
Drop in.
Aren Dow with a nice floaty up shot. Should put him pretty close. Nick, the lefty. We'll see if we can refer to him being a lefty on every hole. That should be fine. All right, now I want to get a birdie here, so I'm going to try to run this. No such luck yet, but at least I gave it a bit. Now here's where Adrian ended up. He is quite stuck in the shoal there. Not much of a clean line. So he does not result in the eagle, unfortunately, but it was amazing, and he will have probably the easiest birdie this hole saw. And at the par, here's Aren for his birdie. And we move on. I was the only one to take the par on the par 4 there. Hole 4 is a little shorty, but it is an island hole. 250 feet. You have to clear the first sidewalk and not pass the second sidewalk. There is a drop zone left if you fail to reach it. With the distance, it's really a throw what you're comfortable with. There are trees on all sides, so there is ceiling to deal with. It's not a gimme by any means, but it is a must-get on this course. Adrian going the 4-hound route, puts it pretty close. Here we have our resident lefty. He's just throwing a putter up there, nice and simple. And that stayed real close. Bob's your uncle. I'm going forehand. I'm flicking a legacy pursuit here. Ooh. Buzz the tower, but I actually ended up the farthest out. That ended up about circle's edge. Hard to tell from this camera angle. At this point, I will say thank you to my special camera crew, but also blame them. We had 2 teenage girls, my daughters in particular, doing all of the filming as I airball that one. So there are some moments that we missed. There are some bad cuts. There's some good work here and there. But full blame goes on my children. But fortunately, I didn't have to pay them. Nick sinks the easy bird there. And Aren with the closest look. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So we end up with most of the card birdieing and me again walking away without one. If you've played any of the Highland layouts, hole 5 is another returning member. It's over 400 feet uphill. But this time we played the golf fairways on the right as out of bounds, and Aren just managed to float his a little too far out there right. Adrian, crush boy. You cannot tell from this camera work, but that was a massive hyzer way up in the air. And that, folks, is flat out parked. In this 400 feet, quite uphill. Uh-oh. Early release from Nick, and that actually ends up sneaking to that OB right as well. I saw what happened to Aren and to Nick. So I went a little extra overstable. And I underthrew the heck out of that. I'll be in bounds, but I've got quite a ways left before the basket. So here's Nick playing from where we determined his shot went OB. Aren just a little bit ahead of there. This looks like a nice upshot. That should be around circle 1. Might have carried a little long.
A little.
That's right. Not my best upshot ever on that one. Right, so here is Aren. He was a little bit long. And he does not sink it in order to save the bogey. Really, the first big mistake we've seen from Aren so far today. All right, now here I'm thinking I've been missing low. Let's not miss low. Wouldn't you know it, I didn't. I missed way high, which is not usually my miss. Don't worry, folks, I have worked on putting in the off-season. All right, there's a nice cleanup, but that's still a bigger number than he was looking to take on this par 3. Up for me. And here we have Adrian. That was for birdie. Absolutely insane stuff that he can do with the disc as we watch Nick come up and tap out his bogey. And we will move on. Little score separation there for Adrian. The next hole is a tight little downhill 200-foot shot, but there is a double mando. You have to stay between these two trees. So the real shot is either throw a putter straight at it or take a forehand. Nick had a good line there, but he just catches a tree. I decided to go the forehand line because there's a little more space out left. There is OB sidewalk as well, so I didn't want to flirt with that, but I ended up right around where Nick was. And this is just a pure putter shot from Aren. Let's watch it again. Dead straight, all the way down. Here I am. I'm playing the there's OB Creek behind, do I run it or do I lay it up game. And I decide I'm just going to hyzer around that tree, go with my par, move on with life. Reliford doing the same thing. Adrian was probably about 50 feet, honestly, maybe 45. runs it and just a little bit of an air ball, but just barely stayed in bounds. See if he can clean up, walk away with par, and he chains out. So this is probably the first mistake we've seen from Adrian today. He'll take a bogey. Beautiful birdie from Aren Dow. Just parked it. That was a great shot. Take my par. Nick will take his.
Tap-ins is one thing.
Yeah, those should be tap-ins, but they just feel a little bit
Yeah,
long.
not what Adrian's looking for there. And the scores kind of come back to being a little knotted up. Hole 7. This is the most must get on the entire course. We added it. It's new this year. It was a downhill fun shot. A lot of people just wanted to throw down a hill, so we added one. But additionally, this hole worked out because most years we had a bit of an issue on this part of the course where flow became a real problem. Players were walking a long way. So in my opinion, this hole's fun. It's kind of easy, but it also really fixed some of the navigational issues we had on this disc golf course. Got a lot of comments afterward. Beautiful shot here from Adrian. Great tree kick, and he is just nestled. Got a lot of comments from players after the event talking about how they really liked how the flow of this course worked. They felt safe, which to me is a huge concern. Nick chaining out. You know he wanted this birdie. Like I said, it is a must get, and that was well inside circle 1, so I'm a little surprised to see him miss that. Aren Dow taps out. And after my first bogey of the round, we'll get my first birdie of the round. Adrian took my CTP. This next hole is a par 3. It requires an ante or a forehand as the best line. And we're actually playing the opposite direction from what we used to play on this hole. We used to throw uphill a big par 4, but again, for flow's sake, we've turned it around, and now it's an ante shot. You could take a different line, but it just sets up best for this. Aren's shot was great there. We did have a bit of a headwind, and my forehand stands up quite a bit. I'm a ways long. Adrian liked my line, though, but he goes a little bit more overstable. And Nick manages to go long. A little bit of a miss there. Might be thinking about that last hole still. Adrian trying to sink his 2. Beautiful shot from Chevalier. Didn't see my upshot, but that is not a birdie. That is a par. And we seem to have missed Aren's putt altogether, but he also walked away with a 2. So here we are, hole 9, finishing up the front 9. This is another downhill, over 300 feet, double Mando. Other divisions actually had a short tee pad they played from that's closer to the Mando, but from here, you can see he's trying to make it between those 2 trees, which also brings ceiling into play. We did this so players couldn't just take a big, huge hyzer around the outside. Adrian's taking the forehand play here. I'm a huge fan of this. He turns this over. It cut rolls. And this went from the worst shot ever to he actually has a look for his birdie. I'm trying the same thing, minus the cut roll. And that actually gets down. It does make the Mando, but it doesn't go near as far as I'd hoped. Reliford with the easy lefty hyzer flip. There's nothing easy on this hole. It is a tough birdie. It was one of the fewest birdied holes of the par 3s. Great upshot from here. I kept it close. Tried to give it a little hyzer dunk run, but I wasn't trying to do anything too crazy there. And here's where Adrian ended up after his rolled most of the distance. And again, just a little off on his putt. Expected him to catch metal there. Par cleanup for Bobby Jeter himself. And again, putting woes from Adrian. This is the 2021 season. He hadn't quite hit his stride yet. If you watch any of his play in 2022, it was cleaned up quite a bit, though he's already pretty dang good in this one. No cleanup. And that is the end of the front nine. Thank you all for joining us. We will have back nine coverage soon of this 2021 Highland Open. Stay tuned.